G'day, and welcome to the Best of the Rest F1 podcast with Sticks and Fraser. Tune in weekly to hear everything Formula One.
Welcome back to the Best of the Rest podcast with Sticks and Fraser. We've got some, breaking news for us. It's a little bit old, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, so we threw a quick little TikTok and whatnot up there to keep everyone's juices flowing and keep you in the loop, but this is the quickest we can get to record it, so this will be our take on the not going ahead for the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Yeah, cancellation of the two races to run in April.
That was the word I was trying to think of, cancellation.
Got there in the end.
The not going ahead.
Works.
It does, it gets there.
Yeah, it was written on the wall like it was going to happen with the war breaking out. Just not safe for the event to go ahead. But sad to see that it's not being replaced with a race elsewhere in that time period.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of safety concerns for teams, drivers, even just general public trying to attend, as well as the restrictions with freighting and just trying to get there in general. So can definitely understand. Pretty upsetting. Well, not upsetting, but just a bit disappointing, I guess, that we're going to miss out on racing for 4 or 5 weeks, whatever that period now becomes.
Yeah, you essentially get a summer break way before the summer break kicks in. The summer break's the worst part of the season when you've got to wait for so long before another race rolls around. And we've got I think it's 5 weeks between races once we've completed Suzuka. So it's going to be quite a chunk of time. But when they were speaking about how disrupted the preparations for Australia were with the Iranian situation going on, I thought, there's no way that the races in the Middle East are going to go ahead if Australia, but just people arriving to Australia was a problem. Like getting in around that area is just, it's going to be too difficult. Yeah,
pardon me. People have floated ideas as such of, why couldn't it be another race held in Australia or Asia or somewhere that's not affected, and we're already in that kind of part of the world. But, the amount of preparation that goes into a race weekend is phenomenal. And you look at especially Albert Park, that's a street circuit. Another place that held an F1 Grand Prix in Australia is obviously in Adelaide. That's a street circuit. So you'd need, even if you were going to try and drop a last-minute race weekend there, at a venue, it'd need to be an actual racetrack that's set up already, that you don't have to worry about permits and traffic planning and those events, like Albert Park, they're already planning for that now. They're doing all the renovations of all the pits and the paddock and all that now, ready for next year. So it's like a 12-month ahead plan.
Yeah, it's not as simple as just, let's hold a Formula One race in 2 weeks' time. It's probably not even that simple with an established racetrack, but definitely not a street circuit. That can't happen. I was fantasizing about Bathurst holding a Formula One event. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, imagine that.
But again, that's not an established racetrack. That's it's street for, majority of the year. Question for you, mate.
Yeah, far away.
Do you think there's going to be some teams there that may actually be quite relieved there's a 5-week break to get on top of these new regs?
Yeah, to not fully answer that to start off with, but I think a team like Mercedes will be disappointed because they've come out of the blocks firing. They've, grabbed hold of these regs. They're, outright kind of leaders, and you couldn't even really think to put anyone else up the top at the moment. The only one's really challenging a Ferrari. So Mercedes would probably be wanting to get all this racing in, try and accumulate as much points as possible in case other teams do catch up. And, Ferrari's trying to bridge that gap. They are starting to a bit. But, I think a lot of the other teams definitely are going to probably enjoy having a bit of a break. And I assume there's not going to be any restrictions to working on cars and testing and, wind tunnels and sims and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think all those other teams are just going to use that time and data from the last few races and Japan coming up to try and bridge that gap and further develop their cars.
I think Aston Martin, for one, will be stoked with the extra time to hopefully get that Honda power unit under control. Bloody Williams are in struggle street.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly they can turn it around.
Well, McLaren's only had one car start the last 2 Grand Prix, so they could probably do with some bit of research into the power units.
And yeah, like you said about Mercedes, they are the team to beat at the moment, but they would want to get as many points on the board as possible before teams can potentially close that gap. So giving a 5-week window of potential development, I don't think that it's necessarily fully dangerous for them, but it's not an ideal situation. They would much rather ideally get another 2 wins under the belt and extend that points margin, because we have seen in the past how quickly teams can close that gap, with McLaren rocking up and putting that development package on 2 years ago now, and they went from scoring points to, oh wow, they're actually going to challenge for the lead.
Yeah, it was like just after the mid-year break, just all of a sudden it was like flicking a switch just up the front.
Yeah, wild
Going
scenes.
from literally at the back, like last position to be fighting for winning races. So
the positive I can take from this is that Jeddah was one of those tracks that was flagged as a difficult circuit for these cars to handle, with the clipping and the super clipping, with a lot of straights and not as many corners to charge the battery up. So by not having that is probably a positive, because we saw some interesting racing at China, and if we don't have to go to too many tracks before they can maybe get a hold of the super clipping and make the racing a bit more natural, that's probably a good thing. Does make me wonder though, do you reckon any of the sponsors are going to want some money back, because all of a sudden 2 out of the 24 races have just been cut? I wonder how that'd work.
yeah, so there's parts to do with contracts for holding the events, and pardon me, I don't know the full ins and outs of how it works, but there's like, if the circuit or destination, location, whatever you want to call it, if they cancel the event, then they still have to pay F1 whatever it would have cost to hold it, kind of thing. But if F1 cancels it, then they don't have to pay, and they get like paid out their kind of side of it. But yeah, I don't fully know how all that kind of contractual stuff, because obviously there's the outlay of costs and then the revenue that they'd get in and forecasts and all that kind of side of it. So yeah, there is contractual agreements to part of that, and I think obviously part of that would probably cover sponsors and what as well. But yeah, if you're just general car sponsors, you'd probably be a bit upset, because they'd probably have a some kind of a deal of a year being however many races. Is it 24 races?
Yeah, I think it is 24, thereabouts.
So, you're already down to 22, so you don't get that publicity for 2 of them already.
Yeah, it's probably going to be potentially a little bit messy behind the scenes, but we'll see if anything comes of that. I don't think there's much more to add about that. Did you have any more that you wanted to say?
No, just, not sure what we're going to do for that few weeks break, 5, whatever it is, and, gonna have to find something else to stare at going around the track.
Yeah, not watching football, because
no,
our team's terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, just a quick pod, just a little update, and we'll box.
All right, thanks for joining us on that little journey. If you've liked us, then subscribe, follow, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.
Wavey's magic driving skills.
Wow.